For more on this, let's speak to Dr. Luigi Daniele. He's a senior lecturer at Nottingham Trent University, and he joins us live from London. Dr. Daniele, thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. Washington says it does not believe Israel's major military operation has begun yet in Rafah, but we're seeing videos and hearing about so many reports of major attacks resulting in dozens of deaths there. What's going on exactly? Has the Rafah operation begun already?
Thanks, Rani, for having me and for the question. It is evident that the operation in Rafah is already continuing deep into the city, actually the most crammed refugee camp in the world at the moment. And we have witnessed the umpteenth massacre of civilians and children, which was the only foreseeable outcome of an attack on tents. So my perception as an international lawyer is that the United States administration is using sophistry to conceal that it is unable to impose any red lines to the Israeli executive. And this is even less understandable because these massacres that are happening on a weekly or daily basis are not in any way aligned to US interests. On the contrary, the Biden administration appears to be headed to pay a dire political cost for this apathy and inaction, while international crimes keep being committed on a daily basis.
Why do you think the U.S. is kind of turning a blind eye to what's really happening on the ground? You say it's going to impact them domestically as well. So why are they making this decision?
It is hard to see any rational motive behind this inability to take decisions that, by the way, would be simply decisions required by the duty to respect international law. So they should come before and as a limit of political discretion. The reasons could be many, mostly related to flows of economic interests, but even these are going to be harmed if third states, the US and all the others, don't actually do anything to stop this continuing massacre. So one step necessary and required will be to simply assume that even wars have rules, and at this point there can be no doubt anymore that this is a lawless war on civilians.
You call this a lawless war on civilians. There's been mounting pressure on Israel to halt its actions. At this point, what do you think it's going to take to stop Israel?
I think that, first of all, we need sanctions and an arms embargo, because even the governments that are expressing condemnation for the Rafah tents massacre are still providing weapons that are systematically being used disproportionately and indiscriminately on Palestinian civilians. But at this point, it seems that the Israeli executive won't stop before anything. So that's why third state actions are needed in order to trigger a change. Even in the Israeli societies, we have so many voices requiring to pursue security in the exact opposite way, by ensuring equal rights, by arriving to a ceasefire that can also free the hostages. You know, the most painful part of all this suffering is that it's showing to be militarily useless. From the same areas in which Israel declared to have defeated Hamas, rockets were launched. So it means that while civilians are being exterminated, and extermination is a crime against humanity under the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, the military objectives are not being achieved. So there is actually no more excuse of any kind to allow this to continue.
Dr. Daniele, the Israeli National Security Advisor said that the war would drag on for at least 7 more months. What will this 7 more months of fighting mean for Palestinians stuck in Gaza?
look, as a laws of armed conflict scholar and as an international criminal lawyer, I've been following these 7 months very closely. Is horrifying the perspective that for more months this goes on. We are actually witnessing, live streamed, the annihilation of a national group. My fear is that this perspective is in furtherance of a political objective of killing more Palestinians and expelling as many Palestinians as possible from the Gaza Strip in order to allow the settlers components of the Israeli government to realize their plan. And their plan, they say it very clearly, is to de-Palestinianize Gaza and resettle it, which are, by the way, other crimes under international law. So the concrete risk is that the continuation of this military offense under the excuse of military objectives will indeed create the terrain for the completion of international crimes.
Thank you, Dr. Daniele, for sharing your insights. We were speaking to Dr. Luigi Daniele, Senior Lecturer at the Nottingham Law School at Nottingham Trent University.